Well, Mrs. Lisa Oz, thank you so much for having a chat with us here at the Aussie Wire. We're in the foyer at the launch of the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. You've taken time out of your schedule because you saw something in the Ark that you thought, I want to be a part of that. What was that?
Part of it is Jordan Peterson's genius, which I think many people are here for the same reason. But also, I'm deeply concerned about where we are on the planet right now. And so pessimistic all over. And I don't think we have a positive
You're saying you're pessimistic or you observe pessimism?
No, the people that I speak with, the people that I observe, I try to be optimistic, but there's a lot of heaviness around in the world. So the idea of a better story was very resonant, and I wanted to explore and see what that was. And what I came to an epiphany while I was here, which is kind of interesting. There's the whole idea of the destruction that's going on and needing to re-articulate the values, the classical values that represent the best of conservatism. But my epiphany was, we as conservatives, rather than looking backwards, need to look forwards. It's hard to do that because we don't have a language around that.
Well, by definition, conserving is trying to keep what we already have. So how does that work then?
So the better story that they're talking about, I think, is the same story we've always told, and there is really only one story. And I think that one story is the archetypal path, the human journey, the human condition. It's the hero's journey, which is best articulated in the life of Christ, and the life that we aspire to is the imitation of Christ. And that is always exemplified in Christ. It is the confrontation with the obstacle, a death, and a resurrection. We're not talking about the resurrection. And I think as conservatives, we need to see this as a renaissance. It's a rebirth. And we haven't had that, I don't think, articulated well. We keep looking to the past. I think the future is a resurrected future where it is the culmination of all the values, but in a way that is new. So it's not looking to the old. It is an entirely new and elevated vision.
So you spoke of the pessimism that you observe out in the world. I can understand why that exists, especially amongst younger people who maybe don't have perspective, don't have a bit of personal history. They're being told the world is ending, there's environmental disasters coming. They're being told that their life is going to be smaller and harder and more restricted than what their parents. They're being told that they're a virus, a disease on the world. How did this become our story? What went wrong?
I think there are forces at work that are dark and do not affirm life. And are working tirelessly to portray that narrative around the world.
You're talking spiritual forces or physical or both?
Both.
Okay.
Always. Right? It's always a connection. It's never one or the other alone. But that's what I love about the Ark is it's not just saying that those are a lie, because they are, because falsity and evil travel together. So the lie and what is bad
is the father of lies.
Yes, exactly. So what I love about the Ark is not just that it aspires to truth and goodness and beauty, but it also gives people the information they need to combat that pessimism, to combat those lies. It talks on the environment where we see that we actually can serve the planet and serve humanity. It's not a zero-sum game. So it's been really inspirational.
Now, you've done an extraordinary amount of study and work over the years. I was just chatting with your husband, Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz as he's known, about Jungian sort of archetypes, and I don't know enough to be able to ask you an intelligent question about that, but how does your worldview, how has it been affected by that study, and how does that translate now into looking at what the Ark is talking about and this idea of individuals being able to take power in their own lives?
Well, I think for Jung, the individual was the answer to everything. And Jordan articulates that in a very accessible fashion where he says, just clean your room. If you can't keep your own life together, how dare you start, I hate the how dare you Greta thing, but I don't even want to go there. But
there is no comparison between Jordan Peterson and Greta Thunberg.
No,
I apologize.
So he does, no, absolutely. But we need to bring in the discipline and ethics into our own lives before we start telling other people what to do.
Sure.
But once we have our own lives in some kind of control, we become an example for others.
Okay.
And with Jung, it was so much about addressing the shadow side, the dark side of who we are, in order to move beyond it, to transcend it. And I think so many of us in today's world are so busy pointing our fingers at other people that we fail to see where much of what is going on outside is a projection of the ugliness and the evilness that was in ourselves.
Sure. So how would we know that ARC is having a positive effect? What are the kinds of things that you could look at and point to in 6 months or 12 months or 5 years, if that's what it takes? What's the objective? What are we trying to achieve?
Well, I think the people that are here are all influential in their own fields, whether it's business or the environment or media. So many podcasters here that have incredible reach. So I think I'm hopeful that we'll see the conversation shifting, that people won't be afraid to articulate their opinions because it may not be politically correct or expedient. So I'm hopeful that the first sign will be a shift in the conversation. And then I think the next will be that we're able to have a dialogue. And I think because we have a better story and better ideas, I'm hopeful that more people will come along and be energized and become more optimistic because of the vision that we have here at the Art.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to leave it. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
My pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much.